What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So this is Flash Season 2, Episode 2, Flash of Two Worlds. And I gotta say, it's really getting interesting right now. I mean, the best way to describe it is it's really got me guessing. Most shows, I can tell whether it's going to be predictable or whether it's really going to pull out, different thinking or really switch up ideas. Like there are some shows, like Supergirl is just one example, that it doesn't really feel like it's going to take any chances. It doesn't feel like it's going to really mess with your mind because, obviously it's only in the first season, but you're not really sure what's going to happen next. You're not really, or opposite of that, you're pretty sure what's about to happen next. As far as characters, as far as interaction between characters, as far as the villain of that episode or what it's about. Like there are certain storylines that they're setting up that as soon as the episode starts, you're like, oh, I see where this is going. This and this and this will happen, and then that'll happen. This is not doing that at all. Because I talked about in the first one how it felt, even though they set up Zoom as kind of like a mysterious character, at the same time it felt like it was still a little bit predictable in that Jay Garrick shows up at the exact same time. And I'm like, oh, well, the fact that we find out about both of these characters at about the same time feels like they're going to be the same character. But as we find out in this one, he's actually not Zoom. He is the Flash in another Earth. Now, there are a few things that I do want to kind of not predict, but I do want to theorize about, just to kind of get all my thoughts out of my mind. But first, to talk about this episode, I like and don't like that they're kind of taking it back to the first season just a little bit, because with the addition of Jay Garrick and how he's helping the Flash right now, it feels very similar to the first season. Harrison Wells helped him throughout the entire first season, taught him how to use his powers more effectively. Obviously, he had different motives, I think, than Jay Garrick does, but Garrick is telling him, look, you need to learn how to harness this lightning ability. So he's teaching him more. So you've got like a mentor, and then you've got the group. With the addition of Professor Stein. So I like the fact that they're kind of giving him another mentor to help him develop his powers even more, because right now he's still learning, and there's still apparently more he can do. So I like that fact. But I don't like how similar it feels to Season 1. I really wish they would have maybe, I don't know, maybe made the mentor a little bit less suspicious, because they're, even after we find out he's the Flash, and even after we find, they do all these tests, it still kind of feels like he's hiding something. He's holding something back from them. And maybe it's just, me trying to look for, a storyline that doesn't exist, or me trying to add more mystery into it. But it really does feel like there's something suspicious going on with this Jay Garrick character. And I don't want it to be like that again. I don't want it to be similar to Harrison Wells in the first season, where we're sitting here going, oh, guys, he's evil, watch out for him. And right now that feels like it's how it's setting up. At first with Harrison Wells, we didn't trust him, but it didn't seem like he was evil at first. And then as we started to get further into the story, it was like, okay, so he really is evil. He's this Reverse Flash guy. I don't want them to go that route. I don't want them to take it that route. I said in the last one how it feels like Jay Garrick is not a good guy. The way he enters and stuff after they set up all of these motion whatever alarms. But with this episode added in, it does feel like it's not taking it the route that I thought it was going to. But at the same time, they still might. I'm really worried about that. However, going to, you've got this, what's her face? She said her name so many times. Spivot? Spivvy? Something. This new cop that's coming in, female cop, Patty something, Patty Spivot. It's funny because every single time, like, Joe's like, "Who are you again?" "Oh, I'm Patty Spivot," or whatever. She said it so many times, and for some reason I can't remember now. Uh, but she seemed a little bit awkward. She seemed a little bit quirky, and she kind of came out of nowhere, asking about these metahumans. And honestly, when she first appeared, the way her entrance was set up, I'm like, okay, so she's gonna kind of be the replacement for Eddie in this season. The partner for Joe to help him work against the metahumans. At the same time, I was like, she may turn out to be a bad guy. Like, I don't know. I don't know why I'm so suspicious of everybody right now, but it kind of feels like, it felt like, is she going to be a bad guy? Is she going to actually be a good guy? Like, she just seemed to come out of nowhere. Um, but that final speech that she gave him about Mark Martin and what he did to her father, shot him for money, and that's why she's so interested, because she found out that he became a metahuman and now a convicted killer has powers now. She's like, I want to be able to stop that. It does set up for an episode where Mark Martin returns because he still is alive. And so we're likely to have that episode where he comes back and now she's got a personal vendetta against him, and Joe's going to try to talk her out of killing him when she's going to be like, but he killed my father and all this stuff. And then he'll go, no, Patty, I am your... No, I'm just kidding. But seriously though, like it took my expectations and changed them around a little bit. I'm like, okay, I like that. I like the fact that she's not just going to be this, oh, I came out of nowhere to help. Should we trust her? I don't know if we should trust her. No, they actually gave her a good reason for wanting to come help, aside from just, oh, I just want to hunt down bad guys. So I like the fact that it's playing with my expectations as far as some characters. And then other characters, I really don't know what to expect at this point. Like I said in the first review, thought Jay Garrick was going to be bad. Now I'm not so sure. Especially because the what's his face? The sand demon. Whenever Barry takes Jay to the warehouse to stop him, and the sand demon guy sees him, he's like, I thought you were dead. At first I was kind of thinking, what if Zoom is actually sending these guys to kill Jay Garrick, the Flash, but they see all of these Flash banners and stuff, and so they're trying to kill that Flash, thinking that's what he means. But the fact that this guy thinks that Flash is dead makes me think, okay, so maybe not. Maybe he really is a good guy. Maybe everybody thought he's dead because he disappeared from that time, like that Earth that they were on. And also, like the last scene that Garrick has with Barry, where he's telling him about Zoom and how he wants to be the only fastest man alive and all that stuff. It does kind of make me think, okay, so that's the reason why he sent him after Barry Allen, the Flash, because he, even though it's on a completely different Earth, he wants to be the fastest man alive in all the Earths. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. So, but yeah, it's fairly interesting as far as you don't really know what's going to happen. It's hard to predict. Even if one of these predictions that I'm making turns out to be right, it's like, well, I didn't really know. I'm just kind of guessing. I'm spitballing right now about my theories and what I think is going to happen. But I am curious. I guess the one curious thing that is kind of sticking out in my mind, and kind of makes me wonder about all of this, is that Garrick doesn't have his powers anymore. Is that really because he traveled to another Earth, or is it because he never had them to begin with? Like I said, another theory, just spitballing, but it does beg the question, like, just because he has, fast regenerating powers, he has similar body functions to Barry, does that necessarily mean that he was the Flash in that timeline? Not necessarily. He could be a metahuman with different abilities than Barry, but not the Flash. So, curious to see all of this stuff and where it's going from here. But for now, I like where it's going. I like how they're putting all this stuff together. They're building stories between this new Flash, Zoom. You've got Cisco's powers becoming a bit more powerful. Uh, at first, I was like, What are these powers? Like, I don't get it. Like, first he sees something that happened in another timeline that Barry changed, and then he's seeing into a different dimension because we see. I'm guessing it was Zoom because it was blue lightning, and he's like talking or killing Atom Smasher or whatever. Um, and then we see in this one he sees a vision of Sand Demon fighting Barry in the warehouse, and then he realizes I can do this. Touches the sand, and now he has a vision of Sand Demon setting up the bomb in the warehouse where he's holding Patty. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see what exactly his powers are capable of. Is he jumping between dimensions or timelines, or what exactly do his powers do? We know that he can see things like visions of stuff that's already happened, but what's the limit for it? Where does it stop? Is it actually in between these different Earths, or is it just on this Earth? All this different stuff to think about. Very interesting. In the final scene, I don't know where they're going with this, but one of the things that Cisco and Professor Stein find out about is this all these different singularities that are causing issues. That are pretty much these balls of space and time and stuff like that. Fictional science stuff that I can't remember about now. But they find out that the biggest one is inside Star Labs, and then Professor Stein collapses because reasons we'll find out later. But then all of a sudden they cut to this futuristic-looking society where there's like a futuristic-looking train. Star Labs is completely functional, and this one woman's taking these kids on the tour of the place, and she's like, "We are in luck today, kids. The founder of Star Labs himself, the man who saved Central City." And I'm like, Barry Allen? Harrison Wells. And sure enough, there he is. The music that was playing kind of made it sound like, oh no, Harrison Wells is still alive. But because I'm not falling for that bullcrap, I see it more as a, hang on, this is not Harrison Wells' Reverse Flash. That was Eobard Thawne. This is Harrison Wells' scientist, I think. So that means in this timeline or this dimension, wherever he is, that Harrison Wells was not replaced by Eobard Thawne, and he managed to save Central City by building Star Labs, by bringing all of this technological innovation to Central City. I wonder why they're showing us this. Does that mean that they're going to visit this timeline at some point? Are they going to have to go there to find information to save their... I don't know. Like, it just kind of came out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what does all this mean? I'm confused. What are they Is this the timeline that Jay Garrick came from in Zoom? Like, are they a part of this timeline? And what does it all mean? So many questions being raised, and good questions too. Questions that make me actually have to think. Go beyond just, oh, I'm just gonna watch and be entertained and smile and laugh at jokes and, oh, action, yay, I'm happy. No, I actually have to think about this, and it's making me think, and I love that about this show. So, really happy so far with this show. Only 2 episodes in, but this season looks like it's building up to something really interesting. Just the fact that they're now the possibility of jumping between dimensions, which I know they are going to get to at some point because I've been watching Supergirl and the Flash made a reference to that because he ended up jumping into their dimension on accident. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see where they're going from this. What's going to happen from here? What's the whole plan? What's the plot overall? And who is Zoom? I feel like just like with pretty much any other DC show right now, if they're wearing a mask, it means they're hiding their identity, which means it's somebody that we know. It's not just some random person that They take off the mask and it's like, oh, who are you? It's gonna be take off the mask and it's gonna be somebody we know. It's go, oh no, I can't believe that. Yeah, oh my gosh. So curious to find out about all this stuff. And I've realized right now that I probably said curious more than I've said in any of my videos. Because that's what this show makes me feel, curiosity. So that's a good thing. Anyway, that's it for this review. I think. Wait, trying to make sure I didn't forget anything. I think that's it. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Obviously, if you're watching this already caught up on the season, don't spoil anything, but let me know what you thought of this episode and what it meant to you at that time. Leave a like and subscribe for more of the Flash reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.